Next up is the award for most boring trophy of 2024. Those trophies in games that made you fall asleep or just wish that you weren't a trophy hunter because they were just so dull. Here are the nominees for most boring trophy. The Toluca Lake trophy in Silent Hill 2 Remake. You'll be able to unlock this trophy towards the end of the game when you find the boat on the jetty to take you to the final area of the game, and thankfully this section isn't as tricky as it was in the HD version of the game because you don't have to get over this bit really quick, whereas in the HD version, in order to get the 10-star rank, one of the requirements required you to get through the boat section in a little under 1 minute 30 seconds, but thankfully there's no 10-star rank needed for the platinum in this version. So in order to get the trophy, you just need to spend 10 minutes out on the lake in the boat, and you can do that by not rowing towards the light, as that will end this section of the game, which sounds pretty simple, right? So as I eventually got back here, I just decided to just not touch the controller at all, just leave it, go and do something else and come back in 10 minutes and hope that I got the trophy. And that's exactly what I did. I didn't want to risk messing it up again, so I just left it to just sit there and wait. And eventually, after going over 10 minutes, the trophy popped, and I got it. The Street Cleaner trophy in Disney's Epic Mickey Rebrushed, which requires you to repaint all of Main Street, the twisted version of Disney World's Main Street. The paintbrush in this game is a core mechanic, as Mickey uses it to either paint or thin the world around him, so a trophy for painting in all of the incomplete parts of this street sounds pretty simple enough, doesn't it? Well, it should have been. But when you attempt this trophy, it's one that can go either one of two ways for you. The first and best outcome is that you simply paint everything you see naturally and the trophy suddenly pops without any issue, leaving you to wonder what all the fuss was about. The second option, which is the worst and most likely one you'll encounter, is that you'll spend several minutes running around the main street painting everything you can think of to only not have the trophy pop because somehow you missed perhaps one random bit of a roof or a bush, a bin or a sign somewhere in Main Street that you're now going to have to spend another 20 minutes or so looking for as you manically run up and down Main Street countless times, pointing the camera in all directions as you slowly try to find what you've missed. Needless to say, I fell into option 2 for this trophy. What followed was a boring 10 to 15 minutes of me just walking up and down this Main Street trying to find the one thing that I'd missed, until eventually I saw this building here with a bit missing at the top left. After getting that, the Street Cleaner trophy then popped and I was finally put out of my boredom. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is such a dull game and I actually began to regret playing it during the first hour or so, but as a single trophy had already popped, I couldn't just leave it on my list incomplete, could I? And by far one of the more tedious trophies was the one with the Clans trophy for completing part 3 of the Clan Contribution missions with all 3 clans. This was such a tedious trophy to do, as it was just tied to a long-winded series of multi-part missions that were never fun or interesting, as they all boiled down to annoying fetch quests where you had to gather plants, meat and other ingredients that a particular settlement want and drop them off in their contribution baskets. Sometimes you may need to cook those ingredients first in order to make a specific meal or use them to craft a particular weapon or item they want. But the cooking and crafting is just a simple button press with you watching a little cutscene that plays out, and this whole extra step becomes annoying really fast as it just forces you to find even more stuff before you can cross off that particular settlement off your list. And after you do that for 3 clan settlements in a region, you then get to part 2 of the mission, where you have to do the same exact thing for another 5 settlements within that region each wanting a different plant, meal or item for their contribution basket to get you to part 3 of the mission, where again you'll do the exact same thing all over again for another 7 or so camps within that region. Ugh. So this next one is for multiple trophies in an ancient epic, because they are all equally boring and they're all basically the same trophy, as in you need to just listen and learn about a particular story, which is basically the game's lore. The trophies all function the same. You'll be playing through a level and you'll come across a series of murals, and you'll have to interact with each one to learn snippets of a story, and in total you could probably be standing here listening to these stories for several minutes, which means you'll just be standing still waiting for the narrator to shut up so that you can move on to the next mural, trigger that and hear the next snippet of the story, and repeat that until all of them have been listened to and the trophy pops. Because if you trigger one and then run forwards, you'll end up skipping the story, so you won't be able to get the trophy. So this trophy basically just forces you to stop playing the game and just stand there, which is a really boring way of showing you and explaining some of the game's lore. They could have done it so much better than this, allowing you to actually play through while someone talks to you, instead of just making you stand still in order to try and get these trophies and secure all of the points of the story. It's just terrible, and the fact that it happens so many times and no one on the dev team seemed to think that this was a bad idea and a bad way to do it shocks me, because it's just really dull and boring. And by the second one, I just wasn't even listening to the narration. I was just waiting for him to shut up so I could move on and get these trophies out of the way. Terrible. Terrible. So that was all the nominees for most boring trophy of 2024. Hopefully after hearing about all of those, you're still with me and wide awake, for here is the winner. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora won with the Clans trophy for completing part 3 of all of the community side quests. Oh boy. This was really dull, and I actually had more fun doing absolutely nothing in Silent Hill 2 Remake for 10 minutes on that lake to pop that trophy than I did in the hours upon hours that I spent going for this trophy in Avatar. The community baskets really sucked. I cannot stress just how dull and tedious these missions are. It was just absolute overkill, making you repeat this slow and tedious fetch quest mission over and over again across multiple parts in multiple community camps and locations across the whole map was just not my idea of fun, and I don't know what they were thinking with this trophy, making it so grindy, so tediously boring and overly bloody long. It's just terrible. Maybe I should have been doing it from the very beginning, but I was picking up all sorts of stuff right away and I still didn't have the very specific requirements that they wanted, because a lot of the plants need to be a certain level of maybe like exquisite or whatever it is, the purple for superior or the golden colour, and not just the standard one that you'll often find. And then there were some really annoying ones where you had to get 2 or 3 bits of a plant, but some of the plants would only appear during certain times of the day, or if it happened to be raining, which meant that you had to awkwardly fast travel around the map and try and advance the time so that it would be raining. And then when I did go there when it was raining, the plant didn't go and be bloomed so I could pick it, because the plant decided that even though it was raining, it wasn't raining enough, and then it just meant even more time wasted trying to get that plant to bloom in the rain to get the thing and then take it to the basket. It was just a pain in the arse, and even the ones that were a bit shorter, or the ones where you had to craft a weapon, they were still tedious as well. It was just, it was an absolute slog. And when I think back at my platinum journey with Avatar, I just shudder at the thought of this trophy, because it was just so dull. I mean, most of the game was dull because you're just repeating the same thing over and over again, but this trophy just overstayed its welcome, and it was just absolutely terrible.